Take 3. Okay, now we're going to do something with our entree. Our entree today will be the shrimp prawns. We're going to smother them in a bell pepper with onions, and we're going to make grits. A lot of people don't care about grits, or they don't know grits, but grits are absolutely delicious, and it's not a cereal. It's another one of those items that you can eat in the morning. You can eat it for lunch as well as dinner, okay? So we're going to start our grits. It's going to take the grits probably about 15 minutes to get nice and creamy, just like we like to have them. In the meantime, I'll talk to you a little bit about our prawns. So with the grits today, we're not going to cook them in water. We're actually going to use chicken broth. And we have already started them with, we had a cup and a half of chicken broth. And this is regular chicken broth. I actually like to make chicken stock and have it at home because chicken stock's really easy. And the chicken broth that we're using here is going to steam up. It'll cook to a boil, and now we've got it steaming a little bit. You can see that pot is steaming. And we're going to cook the chicken broth, and we're going to add a little bit of salt to it. And we're going to close that pot and just let it kind of steam a little bit to a light boil. Then we will add our grits. The entree that we're going to cook today is called smothered prawns. I'm from the South. I was born in Savannah. My grandmother taught me a lot of these recipes. You can jazz it all up and you can call it prawns, sauteed prawns with the vegetables over it, but today we're calling it smothered prawns. We're going to use the pot that we have here. And we're going to use a little bit of olive oil because we want to saute our onions and our bell pepper. The appetizer that we just made, which was the smoked salmon croquettes, we're using a lot of the same ingredients. That makes it nice and easy, but it's all different flavors because we're going to go with just the prawns here. So we're going to add our onions. And this is a cup of onion. So we're going to add a half a cup of the onion now, half a cup of the bell pepper. And there again, just as we did before, we're going to let this just saute up really good. While our bell pepper and onion is sauteing for the prawns, we're going to check on our chicken broth for the grits. It's nice and warm, and we'll add the grits. We're going to add a cup and a half of the grits. A lot of people will eat grits with sugar. I eat grits with creamy grits with butter. And today we're going to cook them in a chicken broth. We're going to add a little egg and make them a lot creamier. It also adds a little extra protein. And the eggs are very flavorful. So now we've got our chicken broth in, and we're stirring our chicken broth. We've added a cup and a half of the grits. And just regular hominy grits that you can buy at the store. Corn grits are good also. And we're going to stir them and put them on low because we want them nice and creamy. I'm going to add a couple of eggs to that, and we put it on low there. Inside the prawns today, we're going to do a little bit different because we don't want them to overcook. So to keep our prawns from overcooking, we are going to saute those in a little bit of oil in a different pan. Prawns need to cook 3 to 5 minutes max. Otherwise, your prawns look like small shrimp that are actually really rubbery, and we don't want rubbery prawns or shrimp. Okay, we'll put the prawns in as we kind of saute this a little bit. You can do the same recipe and you can use chicken. Sometimes we'll do a smothered prawns and we'll have it with the grits, or we can do smothered chicken and put it with the yellow rice, which is also very delicious. I'm going to take the prawns from you. These are 16 to 20 count, which is 16 to 20 prawns per pound. And we're going to probably add about 12 to 14. And I'm going to move this pot forward because I want that to have a little bit more of a flame going than what I'm getting on that back burner. Okay. Now while we wait on these to cook, we'll check on our grits again. And we're going to add a little bit more chicken broth. The grits are looking good. We want them a little creamier than that, so we'll add more broth to them. The chicken broth we're also going to add to the shrimp. So remember when we did our salmon croquettes, we used the bell pepper, we used the onion, we're using all the same ingredients. But your guests won't know that because the guests are going to be very impressed. Oh, they look great. Great. Okay, instant grits. Let's talk about those a little bit. Don't buy those. This is very easy and so much more delicious. And when grits are done, they're not crispy or crunchy, they're nice and smooth. And it's really good, it's cooking nice and smooth. We'll cover it up, keep it on low. And now we hear our pot steaming for our prawn gravy. The prawns are gonna go in last because we're gonna make the gravy before the prawns. We got our bell pepper, sauteed bell pepper, and our onions inside the pan. And then we're having to get a good picture of the prawns because you can see that they're only sitting in the pan with just a little bit of olive oil. We're gonna add a little bit of salt. This is a sea salt, so it doesn't have the iodine in it. You don't need as much, and you actually get a better flavor of the salt. Ground black pepper. Oh, that smells so good. Okay, you can see the steam coming from the pan. We're gonna do our flour in.